Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is your boy Jay from Keeping It Real, your arbiter of gaming news and commentary, hitting you off with a studio production video where you know this is your channel, where all gamers' voices are heard. With your boy Jay, always dropping the word. Keeping them other gaming YouTubers like, what you heard? And where you always know, we always keep it all the way real. So what's up, everybody? I just want to thank you all for checking out my studio production video today. And you know what time it is. The places where all gamers' voices are heard. And your boy Jay is dropping that word. So yeah, man, this video is going to be a special dedication to my boy Davy Jones. It looks like he's at it again. And this time, man, he was cutting loose, man. He posted a comment on my achievements video, so you guys can check that out. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that up on the screen. And it was a pretty lengthy, well thought out comment, man, that I really appreciate, and I thought it was definitely worthy enough to go ahead and do a video on, because he goes over some things that are just some really good parallels of the different directions that Sony is going versus Microsoft in regards to when it comes to consumers, man. And he gives a pretty good breakdown, so I wanted to kind of go through it because he asked me about my thoughts. And these things are basically centered around some ignorant hater fanboy type of stuff, and also just centered around the business practices of both companies and the differences. So I was going to go ahead and go through this, man, and break this down. And of course, again, this video is dedicated to Davy Jones. Once again, man, I really appreciate you putting this out, because this is really important about moving the gaming conversation forward in a positive way, and this is how we do it. So basically starts out in it just speaking about, haters that are badgering Microsoft about the same stuff they've already made very clear, and that is that all graphical updates are going to be totally free. So of course you're not going to be paying for any patches for your X to get the 4K patches and all of those great goodies that we're going to be getting with ultra settings and super sampling. All these things are going to be things that, of course, for each and every game that has came out already, all those patches are going to be completely free. They're just going to basically come with you getting an X. Microsoft has made that very clear from the start. Not sure why there's any confusion other than you just trying to, being a hater and being a fanboy and just bringing up ignorant stuff on purpose to try to confuse people. And what you got to really understand, that's what that's really about. At the end of the day, what I think about that, it's just another day, keeping it real. It's just, you're always going to see this type of thing where people try to create, confusion and just try to obfuscate from the fact of how great this really is. The biggest thing about this is these type of things really distract away from what we're really getting, which is a unprecedented console that has never been seen before, not only just in power, but in performance, and just its ability to move the gaming industry forward. There's never been a console that was going to be the betterment to not only consoles, but also PCs as well. And that was going to be a bridge between PC and console, where even PC guys could be like, yeah, I could go for that. That's never been a thing before. So it's doing something never seen or done before in the console space, and that's a great thing for all gamers. And people like this, they try to distract from that fact, and that's all that is. And of course, at the same time, try to create confusion. So you got to understand that's what that's designed to do, and that's what these haters are trying to do. At the end of the day, that's what they're about. So that's what I pretty much think of that. And another point he made was going over to the VR, which I think is, man, a very tender thing right now, especially for early adopters of VR. I'll keep it real. For me personally, I've always looked at VR was a cool novelty toy, but not something really serious for me personally. It's one of those things that anytime it's ever came to VR, I've used it for a little bit and had a little honeymoon period, and when I was over, I was pretty much done, by that time, because it gets really cumbersome to have something like that on your face. It's not something you can enjoy with other people. It's just one of those things that I think for now, it's especially in the form that it is currently now, it's going to pretty much be a niche thing that most gamers are not going to really get into. Sony took a really big risk jumping into VR, and I think it was at their detriment. This, what Davies pointed out, is really just an example of this. And he points out, and like I did before in a video, and I think this is very true, that Sony making people pay for the update for the VR is just really ridiculous, because you got to think, it's basically punishing the early adopters of it, which are thousands upon thousands of people. I think they were talking about, last I've heard, they sold 1 million, and you think about, that's 1 million people who got this system, and now they've already updated it again. So Davies' point was that what's all this does is tells consumers that, well, if you adopt into VR now, we're only just going to update it not too far later on. So that might not be such a smart bet. Maybe you better wait. And I agree with him 110%. It's one of those things that it really gives people a disincentive to want to buy your product and trust you, because they're gonna feel like, well, shoot, if I get, maybe I should just wait. What's the point of getting it now, when they're still tweaking it and fine tuning it? And this is the reason why I believe Microsoft did not dip their toes, or I think they dipped their toes because they did this on the PC side, but they didn't mess with it on the console side. Now Microsoft has gotten some criticism because of that. Now you guys know, if you check out a lot of my older videos, I was excited about VR for Microsoft. But I was only excited for it in means of the new innovations of what they were doing with when it comes to the mixed reality. I thought that was really cool, and when it also comes with the HoloLens, I thought, to me personally, that was more of the delicate balance that you need, something really thin that you can just like glasses, like put on your eyes, and it just enhances your whole world around you. But you still didn't feel like you had this big old thing with a bunch of wires all on you. Now, for me personally, I thought that was a very good mix, and I think that's more what Microsoft is gearing for when they eventually do mess with VR. I think that's how they're going to do it. Something that's wireless free, that's completely wireless, all cameras are built in, and it makes sense to a gamer, And I think, of course, they held back from doing this because they just feel the technology for them wasn't ready. And also, I'm sure they're thinking, well, we might just want to get a very successful console out right now before and get our games out and before and get our foot back in established and before we really start messing with VR. And I think that was a really smart bet, because if you see on the other side, when it comes to Sony, now think about how much Sony could have benefited if they didn't put up a distraction like VR. You would understand, and this is what I was telling people before. They have 2 failed products out, in my opinion. And when I say failed, I just mean that they're products that are going to help bring Sony down. And what I mean by that is the 2 products is the VR and the PS4 Pro. And the funny thing is, both of them work off of each other, because the very reason of the PS4 Pro is because of the VR, because they just wanted a more powerful system to be able to play their VR. Now, in my opinion, I think that's going to be a huge mistake for Sony, and it's already bearing itself out, because the fact is, VR is never going to really take off like that. It just isn't. And by them handicapping their mid-gen console, which is the Pro, by just basically making it where it's a half step only just for the VR, which is a unit that is never going to really take fire and really be a huge thing. And now they just made that worse by with this new unit, and just making consumers' confidence go down even less. Well, I just think they screwed themselves, because if you really think about it, now they got two failed pieces of hardware out. The only thing they can now rely on is the standard PS4, which can't even hold a candle to the X. And in my opinion, it's even inferior to the S, because the S comes with many more features in a ultra Blu-ray player, and it upscales to 4K, and it has real HDR. You know what I mean? All these things that is still more attractive. And in fact, if you look at the S now, it's on the bestsellers list. It's doing great. And I think now, of course, previously it hasn't been. Like I've said, the market has been constricted, waiting on the X. But I'm saying, moving forward, the S is going to be doing great. It signs that the S is picking up, and that's just because of the image is changing, and that's also because the X releasing, the S is now the entry level. So the X is going to rise all tides, and that is the thing. Microsoft has only have hardware out that is going to be beneficial to them moving forward. You can't say that for Sony at this point. Sony basically has two pieces of hardware that are going to act as baggage for them. And that's going to be the sad predicament that Sony's going to be in for the next 2 years. And that's why I think Davey, what he's saying leads credence to what he's saying, because I think he's exactly right, especially with how this is going to play out moving forward when it comes to consumers' confidence, and when it comes to them feeling like they're being shafted. Because the next thing he goes into is PSN, which is another very hot topic when it comes to the reasons of why Sony would increase the price of their PSN, knowing damn well they haven't done anything to actually increase the value of PSN. And that is yet another thing that is a really sore thumb to people that feel like, okay, first of all, most of the games you come out with, I don't really even care about, and your network is subpar at best, and you are not doing anything to really update that or do anything, but yet you're charging me $10 more. What am I doing this for? And the interesting thing is, there was actually a study that came out. Now, this study was only dealing with America, but it looked into it about what consoles were connected to routers, and they found out that the number one console that was connected to routers in America was the Xbox. Now, that's pretty interesting, because a lot of people, I'm sure, would think, well, that number one console would probably be the PlayStation. Such is not the case. And that tells you just how much of a damning thing it is to have a subpar network. And this is something, it only confirms what I've been saying for a long time, that a lot of people that get the PlayStation, yes, they may play their PlayStation, but online is, in a lot of ways, not really a lot of people's concerns when it comes to the PlayStation. They do like what I'm doing. I have a PlayStation now, and I play it. I have 3 games that I play so far right now, and any of the other games I'm going to be getting in the future, which I'm going to get Horizon Dawn probably on Black Friday, and a couple of other games, but I'm just waiting for Black Friday to get them. But the thing is when I do get those games, I'm never going to be concerned with playing online, because most of these games are just single player experiences that you don't necessarily need to be connected online to play them. You just need to download the latest update in a lot of cases, but that's just about it. Other than that, you could easily just play the games offline, and that's basically what it comes down to. My PS4 has been offline for pretty much since I've had it, other than the updates I did for it. Other than that, I take it off because, I want to use that space for other stuff that I got. I don't use my PS4 online, so there's no reason to have it being on there taking up bandwidth. But that's the thing. The thing is that most people wouldn't really see the need to it unless they're playing an online game or a game that you have to be online all the time to play it. But a lot of Sony's exclusives or games that people will be playing, the reason of why they would get a PlayStation are more single player experiences. So I've been saying that from Jump Street, that a lot of people get it, but they're not really playing it, because you play that game and then you kind of put it in a corner, and they're probably most likely playing something else, like Nintendo or Xbox, or they're on mobile, so that was my thing. That's what's kind of misleading a lot about their sales. And it's great that they have the sales, but it's kind of misleading to think that just because those sales are there, all those people are online playing games. These are one of those statistics that kind of bears out that that's necessarily not the truth. So that's the thing on that. That I find to be really true about, Davey and what he had to say when it comes to the PSN. And I think it really is a travesty that, people are doing this when it comes to it, that, Sony's, when it comes to the PSN. But it's kind of like one of those things that, they think they can. So it's up to consumers to say, no, I disagree. You can't. And you have to vote with your pocketbooks. That's what it comes down to. So yeah, man, the next point he makes is about, he suggests that even when it came to Andrew House, man, and him leaving, this had a big part of it. And I would agree that this was definitely a part. Like I've said before in my other video, man, you got to understand, man, these guys have the inside track. And a guy like House probably looked at this and seen the direction that Sony was going. And he was like, yeah, it looks like it's going to be kind of downhill from here. And anyone who doesn't believe that, man, you ain't up on the facts. You ain't paying attention, because I think it's pretty clear at this point, especially from the things that I just laid out. I think Sony's carrying baggage, 2 pieces of hardware that are baggage. And I think both of those pieces of hardware was basically because, like I've stated before, it's all about image. And they just thought they could just ram this stuff down people's throats, and they were just going to swallow it just because they were Sony. And I think they're going to find out, man, that was not quite the strategy they should have went with. They should have been a lot more conservative and been a lot more humble, and actually put out something that people cared about, and made sure that it was viable enough that it was going to be something that was more future proof, and something that people would actually, the majority of people would actually care about and want to use. And I don't think either the PS4 Pro or the VR represents that. And I think this is the reason why I keep telling people, when people keep telling me, they think I'm crazy to say Microsoft can catch up this next quarter. Yeah, it's what are you talking about? It's not hard. It's not a crazy notion to think that, yes, they can catch up. Of course they can. And you got to understand, catching up is not necessarily only just in units sold. It's also in mind share in people's minds when it comes to who do I think is giving me the best value, who do I think, where's the platform I'm having the best experience on. That is a huge thing. How people feel about, whether they've been getting the value they're paying for, or they're feeling, excited about playing on a platform, or feeling like their views of what they want is being heard and is being addressed. That is a big thing. And that's something all Microsoft is doing right now, and Sony's not doing. You see what I'm saying? And you can't think that that's not going to be a factor as well, that is going to set the stage to sell more and more and more units. Of course it is. Of course it is. And this is another reason why Microsoft is not really messing with VR. They don't want to have anything that's going to distract from the point of, what the X is going to do for the market. They want it to be all on its own, and they want it to just dominate. And like I said, it will be the golden standard. It is the golden standard in my opinion, because there's no other console that can do what it does. There's not a PC that can do what it does. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about versatility. Obviously, a PC is great. It always will be the king. However, when it comes to versatility, when it comes to simplicity, I butchered that word. When it comes to simplicity, and ease of use, and gamer friendly, and it's not so much. It's a lot of complications, a lot of more complicated. This is the reason why there's a console market, right? But the thing is, now we have a console that supersedes that, and it blends that that barrier between PC and PC and console, making it where it could be a nice even choice for both sides. And that's never been done before. And this is where the X is going to excel. Okay. And this is where it's going to make some serious ground into the market. So yeah, man, that's going to be pretty much my video on that. Again, those are my thoughts, Davey. That's what I think about this. Man, so I appreciate you dropping a comment. And once again, this is Davey Jones, man. So shout out to you, brother. I appreciated you putting this out. And man, if you need anything else, man, you want me to break down something else, hit me up. I'm here. All right, man. You guys make sure you like, share, subscribe. If you did get boys content, join the Keep It Reals family. We're ever so growing. And till the next time. This is Jay. I'm always keeping it real, and I'm gone.